Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. We have some pretty exciting news coming up, especially for the Nintendo Switch when it comes to new rumors, leaks, and all that great stuff. Especially if you're an Animal Crossing fan. These next two videos are going to be really fun to talk about. For me specifically too, because I am an Animal Crossing fan. We also have some news on the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. We have a potential name for the Nintendo Switch 2, so that's pretty fun too. And Persona 6 might be launching on the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. So a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 stuff today. So the first one we're going to talk about is Animal Crossing New Horizon. Now this is a pretty interesting one because Animal Crossing did extremely well on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, right here Google says 43.38 million units sold. The Nintendo title was a roaring success, selling more digital copies, 5 million, in a single month than any other console game in history. Currently, lifetime sales of Animal Crossing New Horizon sits at 43.38 million units. So yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizon was a huge success for Nintendo, but one thing I think they kind of dropped the ball on was supporting the game with new DLC. I feel like they could have supported it a lot more than they did, and it could have been even bigger if they would have did more with the game. But with that being said, it's no surprise that this rumor surfaces of a new Animal Crossing game, and this is what comicbook.com has to say. A new Nintendo rumor has surfaced online claiming to have details on the next Animal Crossing game in development for the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever the next Nintendo console ends up being called. According to many of the same rumors, the console is going to release in 2025. According to the latest Nintendo rumor, the next Animal Crossing game will not be ready for 2025, but release the following year in 2026. Now, if this is a 2026 game, this does make me wonder, are they going to reveal this new Animal Crossing game while they reveal the Nintendo Switch 2? Because remember, we do have to have a reason other than playing our current Nintendo Switch games to pick up a Nintendo Switch 2, and the fact that this is one of the best-selling Nintendo Switch games, Animal Crossing New Horizon, it would make a lot of sense for them to make a new Animal Crossing game to launch with the Nintendo Switch 2, especially since we have Metroid Prime 4 as well. Those are already two big games, especially if they give some kind of bonus upgrade when it comes to performance, resolution, and all that great stuff that comes with more powerful hardware. Of course, it's still going to play on the past Nintendo Switches, but when you have more powerful hardware, of course it's going to run better. That's really going to be the interesting part about the Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo trying to support the current Nintendo Switch is the difference in visual fidelity when it comes to the different versions on the Switch 2 and the original Nintendo Switch. But anyways, continuing. Adding to this rumor, the rumor lists a variety of things that players can expect from the game, including more collaborative multiplayer, which, thank God, that's something I really wanted. That's one thing I didn't really like about Animal Crossing New Horizon, is that the multiplayer was kind of just tacked on, in my opinion. It wasn't too interactive with your friends, if you know what I mean. A larger city, complete with skyscrapers, vehicles for transportation, mini-games, adventure missions, and a new monetary system. Now, you know, that would actually be really cool. I mean, having this economy among players of creating things that you can buy, things that you can sell, I think that would be really cool. That's one way you could really upgrade Animal Crossing New Horizon. I think one thing that I kind of struggle to think about is what else can they do with the games except adding just everything that they've added in past games and make it into one whole game, kind of like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What else can they do? I think a good idea was kind of go towards the multiplayer aspect, not so much as an MMO, but interacting with other players and having this idea that there are other people outside your own village and you can, still visit villages. That's always been a thing in Animal Crossing, but kind of expanding on that idea and having the own economy, selling your own furniture and all that great stuff. I think that would be really great. Now, they also said the last bit includes a variety of things such as furniture store and a vehicle workshop. The vehicle thing really makes me wonder if they're doing anything special, like can we fly Samus's ship? Of course, not the full-on ship, like a little mini model that's modeled after Samus's ship. I think that would be pretty cool as well. Or maybe you can have a motorcycle like Link's motorcycle from Breath of the Wild. I think that would be really cool. I don't know, there's a lot of different things that you could do with having your own vehicle. I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe like one of the vehicles could be Mario's cart from Mario Kart. That would be pretty cool. But anyways, moving on. The very last noteworthy tidbit divulged by this new rumor is that there will be a completely separate city for online play where users can connect and interact and even play various mini games. A few examples of these mini games are provided: vehicle races, cake throwing, mouse hunt. There will also be birthday celebrations. So what this really sounds like is that they're kind of going after the multiplayer aspect of the Nintendo Switch install base, having a community of friends to play with different things like birthday celebrations. That's pretty cool. Cake throwing, vehicle races, that all sounds really great. The vehicle races I am actually kind of interested in because we don't have a Mario Kart game yet, so, or at least a new one anyways, and I'm curious on how good a vehicle race in Animal Crossing would be. Is it going to be kind of watered down version of Mario Kart, or is it going to be its own thing? Very interesting. But anyways, the last paragraph talks about the source of this, and it says, as for the source of this rumor, it all comes the way of an ex-user with a bit of a following called nweedle. Unfortunately, the source in question does not have an extensive history of leaks to back up these claims. It is also worth noting that all this information comes through translation. Sometimes in translation, meaning and vital context is lost. Whether or not that's the case, probably not, but it's worth keeping in mind. So yeah, very interesting stuff, guys. I think that would be pretty cool, having this multiplayer focused Animal Crossing game and still have your usual Animal Crossing gameplay as well. Have your own town, but have this other section of the game that's really expansive and really interactive with other players, because I feel like that's one thing that Animal Crossing really needs to work on, is the multiplayer aspect of its game when it does try to do multiplayer anyways. I think there's a real good potential for a really deep multiplayer experience in Animal Crossing. The single player experience is always a fun time, it's just that multiplayer experience could really add to the game. And not only add to it in terms of just content, but add to the longevity of the game as well. But yeah, moving on to the next one, we do have some potential, I would say, bad news for the Nintendo Switch 2, depending on how you look at it. So if you guys remember, the Nintendo Wii U was a really weird situation and bad situation for Nintendo when it comes to the naming of that console. A lot of people didn't know that it was its own console. Some people thought it was just an add-on for the Nintendo Wii, actually. Until this day, there are some people who don't know what it is. And this new rumor for the Nintendo Switch 2 name really has me wondering if Nintendo's gonna end up in a sort of situation where people don't know what this is. So it says, Nintendo's heavily rumored next-gen hardware. It's currently announced, but it's typically referred to as the Nintendo Switch 2. It's the most logical option after all. But a new leak via YouTube suggests that it could be launched with a different name. Earlier this week, a Reddit post on the r/gaming Reddit suggests that YouTube survey had revealed the name of Nintendo's follow-up to the best-selling console, or best-selling Switch console, I mean. The survey in question asks which of these gaming products would you consider buying, with the four options being PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch Attach, or none of the above. So this is something that I think Nintendo should think about changing if they are going to call the next Nintendo Switch Attach. That really feels like the Wii U situation. I think people might get really confused that this is just an attachment for the current Nintendo Switch, and they're not going to think, oh, this is a more powerful Nintendo Switch, and I should buy it if I want my games to run better. Unless the Nintendo Switch 2 isn't a Nintendo Switch 2, and it's just something you attach to the Switch to make it more powerful. I don't know. Maybe it's just a separate dock system. Probably not, but I don't know. Switch Attach is just, in my opinion, a really dumb name, and I hope they don't call it the Nintendo Switch 2 or Nintendo Switch Attach. They should just call it the Nintendo Switch 2. Just make it simple, Nintendo. You don't have to be super creative with everything. Call it the Nintendo Switch 2, and people will look at that 2 and say, oh, this is a new system. It's still the Nintendo Switch, but it plays Nintendo Switch games, and it's the next Nintendo Switch console, hence why the 2 would be there. I know Nintendo likes to do some weird things with their consoles, but this is one thing where I think everyone's in agreement that don't get the naming wrong. Make sure you can market this thing correctly so it does well. I mean, everyone knows what a Nintendo Switch 2 is, so I just think Nintendo Switch 2 is just better. The Switch Attach makes it sound like it's some kind of add-on for the current Nintendo Switch, and it's not a whole new console, well, not whole new console, but a console that is gonna cost you at least $300 to $400. You know what I mean? I don't know, I guess we'll see, but Switch Attach, in my opinion, is stupid. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Switch Attach is a good name, and I'm just kind of the small, vocal area of Nintendo Switch owners that think it's dumb. What do you guys think in the comment section? Do you think Switch Attach is just a dumb name, and it's just gonna confuse people if they call it that? I don't know. And moving on to another leak, it seems that Persona 6 is gonna be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, if this does happen, it is very, very exciting, and it's gonna be interesting to see how well this plays on the Nintendo Switch 2 and how much units are going to be sold on the Nintendo Switch 2 compared to the Xbox and PS5 and PC, because one thing that the Nintendo Switch has over those three is portable. Now, of course, there's a Steam Deck and other handhelds, but there is not nearly as much Steam Decks and those kind of PC handhelds compared to the Nintendo Switch. This comes from Nate the Hate, and he says, From the information I've heard, it does seem that Persona 6 will be coming to the Xbox. Now, that's only the Xbox stuff. That's his information for the Xbox platform, not the Nintendo Switch. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, this is where that comes from. And he does say some more information on the Xbox version, but we'll get to that in just a second. So this comes from Atlas Leaker, and he was asked, does this include the Nintendo Switch 2? And he says straight up yes. So it is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 according to this Nintendo Switch leak. We'll see if it even happens. Of course, these things could always be fake. Everything I talk about in this video could just not happen. That's always something that could always happen, but sometimes they do come true, like the Nintendo Direct, and of course the game that was leaked along with that Nintendo Direct from Piero. So sometimes these things do come true. I mean, when I covered the Nintendo Switch leak for the Super Mario 35th anniversary a couple of years ago, I thought that was fake, and it ended up being true, funny enough. But in the long run, take these things with the grain of salt. Now, as for the rest of the information on the Xbox side of things when it comes to Persona 6, this is what Nate the Hate says. I'm not 100% sure if it's like a day and date with the PlayStation version, but considering the way the Persona games have been day and date with the multi-platform releases at this point, it may be a safe assumption to make that Persona 6 will be a day and date Xbox and PlayStation. It would be a really big deal if Microsoft was able to secure that on Game Pass. Now, one thing I do have to say with that, Game Pass and Persona 6, is that a lot of the Persona games are hitting Game Pass, so it is going to be interesting to see if that is going to come to Game Pass. I personally think that it has a high chance coming to Game Pass, considering the fact that a lot of Persona games are on Game Pass. I mean, the Persona 3 remake, day one, was on Game Pass, so that's really great. I mean, I actually still have to play that. I've been playing through Final Fantasy VII-R, haven't really digging into that. I haven't had time for anything else. But yeah, what do you guys think about all of this? What do you think about this Nintendo Switch leak? What do you think about the Switch 2 name attach? I still think that's really dumb in my opinion. What do you think about the Animal Crossing information? Do you think Animal Crossing going into a more multiplayer aspect along with that single player aspect still added on too? Do you think that's the way that Animal Crossing should go? Or maybe you have your own idea on what the next Animal Crossing will be? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.